artillery in round number 3.
At the end of the round, De La Hoya turned the tide with that left hook inside, left uppercut, sorry.
This is an excellent fight.
It's a very even fight so far, and it's beginning to boil down to just what we thought it might be, a battle of De La Hoya's heavy artillery against Pernell Whitaker's sophistication and skill. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Jim, 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. Oscar De La Hoya, I gave him rounds 2 and 3 based on his better punching. Jim, just in case anybody's interested, the rules of the WBC are you lose a point, the uncut fighter loses a point on an accidental headbutt. I asked Mills Lane, he didn't take the point. So it's 2-1, De La Hoya.
I have the same score.
Still appears there's a slight swelling under the right eye of Pernell Whitaker. De La Hoya, as you can see, has the mouse under the right eye. The blood has been stopped for the moment. Hard right hand by De La Hoya.
Good right hand by Oscar De La Hoya.
And again, Whitaker comes in with the head, and De La Hoya is obviously wary of butts as he stopped punching as Whitaker came in.
That's going to happen a lot because these guys have their power hand is on the same side. Therefore, their heads will be lined up perfectly when they come into one another. So there are going to be a few butts in this fight. And
it would be horrible to see such a hotly anticipated bout end as the result of a headbutt.
And Whitaker does have a mouse over his right eye.
Now that's his lead eye, so if in fact his vision is affected in the later rounds, that could be an element of the fight. So far in the tactical battle, De La Hoya, at least in the last minute of the rounds, giving as good as he's getting.
But it's a little disappointing to see that De La Hoya, who is stronger, is really not trying to impose his strength on Whitaker. Perhaps he's saving it for later.
Well, you heard his trainer, Jesus Rivero, asking him between rounds to create more distance between himself and Whitaker. Get a lot of distance, he said. Didn't want him to get into a brawl.
Yeah, because it makes it more difficult for Whitaker to hit him, being the shorter of the two fighters.
Whitaker misses over the top with the left hand. De La Hoya showing you his always improving flexibility in the upper body as he ducks and slips. Another right hand lead by De La Hoya as he tries to pick Whitaker apart tactically.
Good right hand by De La Hoya.
Bobbing left to right and then throwing the right hand lead. Obviously something he's worked on specifically for this fight. At the end of the round, that catches the eye of the judges.
WBC rules dictate that he does, so that's an additional point for De La Hoya or a point taken away from Whitaker.
Meaning that on the scorecards where De La Hoya was given the 4th round, if in fact he was, he may be 4 points ahead. Hard punches from Whitaker, a right and a left. Whitaker going back to the jab, which served him so well in round number 1, where he threw 41 of them and landed 14. De La Hoya going back to the right-hand lead, which has been his weapon so far, along with the uppercut. Slippage here.
Right on that spot that Larry talked about.
They meet in the center of the ring and go to the body.
Yeah.
How do you have it through 4?
Okay, 39-36, 3 rounds to 1. Oscar De La Hoya. What happens is on an accidental headbutt, the uncut fighter loses 1 point to the WBC. If Mills Lane took that point in the 3rd round, it becomes a 10-8 round for De La Hoya. So Oscar by 3 points.
Whitaker's eye continues gradually to swell. That's the right eye. De La Hoya not having switched to the southpaw stance at any time in this round. He swore to us yesterday that he hadn't worked on it in training and wouldn't do it, but you saw him do it at the end of the preceding round. Whitaker always so good at choosing his opportunities while backing up and drawing you in. Crowd reacting wildly to everything De La Hoya attempts. Missed punches, drawing almost as much approval as those which land.
Whitaker trying to box De La Hoya a little more now, trying to land a few more punches on him to get to him. He's jabbing more, he's slipping more.
This has been Whitaker's best round to this point.
But still he isn't landing a whole lot, Larry.
Not a whole lot, but he's landing more than De La Hoya right now.
If he's winning the round, he's winning it more with ring generalship than he is with clean punching.
And that jab right there.
But he's landed more punches than De La Hoya, from my viewpoint.
He's basically winning this round with the jab.
There's the switch to southpaw again. He used it to flurry at the end of the last round. Stays in the southpaw stance, jabs with the right hand. And remember, De La Hoya is a natural southpaw who fights in a right hand position. His left hand is his strongest hand. When he goes southpaw that way, he gets to throw the left as a cross, as a power.
I wonder what he thinks now.
Left hand to the body by De La Hoya. Is he going to fight the full round in the southpaw stance? He is, and he lands a straight left to Whitaker that backs him up.
Now, why would a fighter who has been a great young fighter like De La Hoya feel he's got to change his natural best style against Pernell Whitaker, Roy?
A confidence booster. He's trying to show Whitaker that he can do anything that he wants to do in here. This is the way. This is part of the head game schemes that go on.
But I haven't seen any positive result from this switch. It looks good, it's flashy, but I don't see him landing any real punches.
I see a positive result. He gets to throw his best punch, the left hand, from a power position. Now he goes back to the conventional stance. And of course, as Roy pointed out, southpaws aren't used to facing other southpaws and seeing the left hand come at them.
No, they're not. They're used to seeing right-handers most of the time because 90% of the time, that's what they'll be in with. Training and fighting.
There he goes back to the southpaw stance. Whitaker misses over the top. You would think that Pernell Whitaker would want to attack him constantly when he's in this southpaw stance to test what would be an inexperienced defense.
Yep, he doesn't want to run into Oscar's left hand. He knows that's Oscar's best punch.
And there you go. That's the reason for the southpaw stance.
Well, that was the first real punch he landed.
I don't agree. I think he's landed 2 or 3 other good
ones. You saw that Whitaker tried to hit him with a big left hand, missed it, and De La Hoya brightly came back with his own right.
De La Hoya switching back and forth throughout this 6th round. Southpaw, conventional, back to southpaw. Whitaker not punching as often in this round, now goes back to working the jab. Goes to the conventional stance. De La Hoya throws the straight right hand. Whitaker short with most of these jabs. There's one that landed. And a couple of left hands as he held on to De La Hoya's left arm. Mills Lane trying to gain command of the fight.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. He's making a move on him, and he's catching him when he's got him off balance. Just like when he relaxes this side, Oscar De La Hoya's hitting him with the right or left uppercut.
Hard left hand by Whitaker there. Closing seconds of round 6, halfway through, a tactical battle between the 2 great welterweights.
Get on your left side, but be careful, don't crouch so much.